Hi, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. And this is a paid request for Lucas. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, movie reviews, re-reviews, random thought streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, full playthrough, tier list ranking, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a Cash App as well. Links are down below in the info box, and we'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. As you've noticed recently, I don't know if I'll upload these today or 2 days, whatever, but doing a lot of Bud related stuff thanks to Lucas, who sent a request for all these. A commentary on Antz, then a review. A commentary on A Bud's Life, then a review. And then he wanted a comparison versus topic. Antz versus A Bud's Life. I said, okay, I'll do the best I can. Now, I've told this story in my review for Antz and my review for Bud's Life, but I figure, why not do it one more time? So Jeffrey Katzenberg, he was with Disney at the time. Something happened either between him and Michael Eisner, or he wanted more money, or he wanted the president position, whatever the case may be. If he left, went with Spielberg and David Geffen to create DreamWorks, which they have their animation section as well. And so you had films like Prince of Egypt and Antz come about for 1998. Now, there was another Ant movie being made by Disney, by Pixar, called A Bud's Life. Now, the director of A Bud's Life, Lasseter, he says, well, wait a minute. We had this idea for a while when Katzenberg was here. When he leaves, now they have a Bud's movie they're doing. So Lasseter's like, you stole our idea. No, we didn't. Oh, this idea came from someone else. And to be fair, if you looked at the two films, they're not the same. I mean, there's similarities. And I damn well guarantee Jeffrey Katzenberg was inspired. Like, okay, we're going to do our own Bud film. Just fuck them. Fuck Disney. Which, I'm like, that's fine, because I don't, fuck Disney. But, and to be fair, I like Antz more. Although, A Bud's Life is fine. But, did he probably steal it? Yeah. I'm sure Katzenberg did. But they're not the same movie. There's similarities where there's an ant and falls in love with the princess. But one feels a bit more like satiric and kind of wittier, and is kind of the battles from within their group. Because it's the commander of the soldiers wanting to get rid of the other part of the ant hive, the ant colony. While Bud's Life is, I need to get this team to come back and deal with these grasshoppers. I mean, overall, the story is fairly different. Pretty much Katzenberg wanted them to rush it out and do whatever we can to get ours out and released first. So Antz came out in October 1998, while Bud's Life came out November 1998. They both got good critical reviews, but A Bud's Life won at the box office. Antz only made like $90 million in the U.S., 130 to 160 million worldwide. While A Bud's Life, the amount Antz made worldwide, I think A Bud's Life made in the U.S. alone. And it made like 360 million worldwide. So they won at the box office. For a number of reasons. I'm sure, number one, just the aesthetics. Like, you look at Antz, you look at the characters, you see that they try to make them look like human faces and pointy. And I think for people, the aesthetic makes them look more ugly. While A Bud's Life is much more cuter, more appealing to kids and to parents that want to make sure the film is right for their kids. So they see a movie that's more colorful and more seemingly family friendly and less hip, or however you want to describe Antz. So we don't want to go to two Ant movies. We're going to go to one, and we'll just wait for this one. Just has the Disney moniker behind it, but even with Pixar and Disney at that time was a trusted source because Disney released Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast and all sorts of stuff. And Pixar had done Toy Story in '95, and that was a huge hit. So hey, the people behind Toy Story, I think it's the same director of Toy Story who did A Bug's Life. Hey, they like Toy Story, their kids loved it, so we don't go more towards that. They both have pretty good voice casts. And you got Gene Hackman, Christopher Walken, Sylvester Stallone, Danny Glover. And then on A Bug's Life, you got Roddy McDowall. May he rest in peace. Well, I mean, Gene Hackman as well. A lot of people. Roddy McDowall's in it. You got Dennis Leary, who later voiced Diego in the Ice Age films. You got David Hyde Pierce. You got Dave Foley's the lead. Kevin Spacey. It's weird that both films have two people that are pretty shitty human beings. Woody Allen and Kevin Spacey. Granted, one at least is supposed to be the villain, but one likes the girls young, one likes the boys young. So, there you go. But if you try to separate the art from the artist, does Woody Allen do a good job? Does Kevin Spacey do a good job? I think they do. And how do I get into this? Really, Antz I prefer more. Let's get into that. Antz I like more as a film. Maybe because as I'm older, I'm in my 40s, so Antz is probably just more to my sensibilities. It's trying to be a bit more satiric. Woody Allen, you try to put a bit of his input into his own dialogue at least. So the dialogue just feels a bit more natural, feels a bit more witty, a little bit more mature, throwing some lines in there that are maybe you hope that kids too young to understand, but later on they get the joke. I was going to have you in one of my erotic fantasies, but no more, never mind. I'm ride you out. Like stuff like that you probably would hear in a Woody Allen film. And it was cool to have like Sylvester Stallone be like a jovial character and, a bit more optimistic character. And you definitely felt a bit like Antz just feels and seems a bit more quirky and a bit more unique to me. With like someone, an ant being at a therapist and going through his issues and problems and wanting to be an individual. And I think I got into the story more about a guy who feels and is told that he's just not special, that you're pretty much invisible, that... What was the word I'm thinking of? Insignificant. You're told that you're insignificant. And then the story's about rising up to your individuality. That every person, every ant, everyone has their own worth. And how he rises up showing that, no, I am special because I'm an individual. You don't need to be part of the pack. You don't need to be a mindless drone. So that I thought was more appealing as a main character to follow. And I liked his journey more, the main character's journey. And, it was fun to follow it. As he meets the princess and he decides to dance differently as everyone's dancing the same. And you get your Pulp Fiction reference. There you go. While dancing. And then you decide to make a leap of faith and switch with your soldier buddy, played by Sylvester Stallone. And you get accidentally put into a battle alongside Danny Glover, where the battle becomes like Starship Troopers, where the termites are like the bugs in that movie, shooting acid and melting bugs. I'm like, Jesus, this is pretty interesting. And not going to say edgy, but, more than I thought it would be. at least seen it back in the day. And there are parts that made me laugh. There were lines that made me laugh. When Danny Glover's like, "Hey, am I okay?" And it's just a head. "Oh yeah, sure, you're fine." "Oh, I see your eyes. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna make it." Because it's just Danny Glover's character is just a head left after the battle. So moments like that made me laugh. And again, because it didn't feel too kid cheery friendly, I guess again as I'm older, that is more appealing to me. I'm not saying I can't enjoy a kid-friendly film, especially nostalgia. I mean, I love the old Ninja Turtle movies, among other stuff. But like cartoon-wise, I love the 80s Ninja Turtles cartoon. That's what brought me to the dance in terms of Ninja Turtles and those characters. But if you're asking me which I'm more willing to rewatch, the 2003 Ninja Turtles cartoon, which is my favorite now, has become my favorite. I'm more willing to rewatch that. Now, if it's a childhood favorite that I watched over and over and over and over again, like some Scooby-Doo movies, again, the first two live-action Ninja Turtle films, I could watch them as like comfort food. It brings me back to watching these over and over again when I was a kid. These two films, if I combine a little over one hand, like this amount of times, it's less than this that I've seen both of these movies combined. So it's not like these are films I watched over and over again when I was a kid. But yeah, I thought the dialogue was a bit funnier in Antz, and I thought the pacing, I forgot how short and quick it was. You take out the end credits like an hour and 18 minutes, and I thought it moved at a really good, smooth pace. He gets close to the princess, and this event happens. He's looked as a hero, which makes the other ants go, wait a minute. If he could do it, maybe I could do it. And yeah, I don't have to do this as well, and we could be individuals, stand up for ourselves. So we don't have to be walked on. We don't have to be drones. Our two main characters accidentally get kicked out. They wander the wasteland of, where you find out it's Central Park in New York. They find this insectopia. I thought it was clever how the garbage is used to their own satisfaction. Like they do snow angels, but it's on powdered donuts. They have a ride, but it's like on a worm going through a rotten, apple. Like I said, there's a bit of a quirkiness to it that I thought kind of made it appealing. It didn't feel dumbed down for me. And it didn't have that, blame game trope, which was just something I didn't care about in the Bud's life. I did many other films have that, but one simple conversation would have ended this thing where, I need you guys. Okay, sure, we'll be hired by you, and we're going to fly all the way to your home without discussing, hey, what is it that you really want from us? Like, what's the job? Oh, I need you to go fuck up these grasshoppers. I did one conversation would have saved so much headache. And then at the end of the film, it's them realizing, oh shit, there are more of us than them. Fuck. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Now, the character-wise, I would say Woody Allen, if you don't like Woody Allen, then, and I'm not like a big Woody Allen fan, but I do think he did a good job in Antz. I thought it fit his character, his insecurities, and his eccentric, neurotic ways. I thought it fit the character. And for me, made it more interesting. Dave Foley was fine, but I thought Woody Allen's character was more interesting. The love relationship between him and the princess, I thought they actually built that up in Antz. In A Bug's Life, it's kind of, they don't like, she doesn't like him. Then once in a while she sees him do something nice, and then, a thing here and there. Then all of a sudden she helps him at the end there and sticks up for him. Because it just has to be. But I felt more of a build-up of the relationship in Antz. I thought that was done better in that film. Villain-wise, Gene Hackman and Kevin Spacey are both good. I think Kevin Spacey, though, showcased, number one, his design as the grasshopper is definitely much more memorable and distinct, and the way he moved and his facial expressions made him more menacing, and the fact that he had more to do in terms of physicality and kicking and beating on the lead character until he's, or having the other grasshopper do it until he's bruised up. And it felt like Kevin Spacey's character just had more to do and had more of that intensity factor. So while I do like Gene Hackman and Antz, I probably give the villain to Kevin Spacey in A Bug's Life. The humor, I actually laughed more at Antz and the witty kind of satiric elements of the totalitarian society they live in, and just some of the ways they work that dialogue and humor into it I thought was kind of funny. Bug's Life is a bit more into visual gags, and some of them are fun, like the mosquito at the bar getting drunk on blood was kind of funny. Big tip is when you're in the mood. If you're in the mood for something that's a little bit more for older, or one that's more for kid friendly, again, my age, the older is kind of more my direction, but nothing wrong with the kid humor as well. Again, at least it's nothing like fart jokes or any stupid shit like that. I thought both looked good. I would say Bug's Life is definitely more colorful, but I thought they both were good-looking movies for the animation of their time, 1998. Of course, if you compare it to a film nowadays, it looks antiquated, but I thought they both looked fine. I do think Antz had a bit more of a faster pace, and again, I thought the story is a bit more interesting. That, I don't know, the individual rising above is appealing to me. Here, it's, I get it. It's pretty much the circus troupe providing that, no, they can be heroes and they can help these people, these ants. And again, these ants finally realizing, yeah, there's more of us than you. Music-wise, both were fine. Probably like the music in Antz a little bit more. The score-wise, some of the songs put in there for some montages. But both, music were fine for what they needed to be. Again, the lead I would give to Woody Allen. The villain I would give to Kevin Spacey in the other film. I do think A Bug's Life has a little bit more of a satisfying ending for the villain. Because in Antz, spoilers, it's the ants working together to escape this flood. Christopher Walken's like, hey, you know what? They are worth the colony. Okay? What you're doing is wrong. Punches Gene Hackman. Hackman gets pissed. Tries to tackle Christopher Walken. Woody Allen saves him. Pushes him out of the way. They both get pushed off into the water. Gene Hackman just flattens on a rock and dies. Woody Allen gets saved, and ultimately everything's fine. So it's just kind of very short and kind of oh, that's it? You're kind of waiting for Gene Hackman to get back up and have a little bit more of some chase, battle, fight, whatever. You do get that in A Bug's Life, where Kevin Spacey grabs Dave Foley, and then the circus people go after him, and then the princess saves him, and then Dave Foley has a plan, and before they have this plan of this fake bird, which got burnt down, Dave Foley led Kevin Spacey to the real bird, but he thinks it's the fake bird again, but it's not. And so the bird picks him up and drops the grasshopper to the baby chicks. Definitely much more of a fitting end to your villain, and longer and a bit more of a scale to it. So I do think the demise of the villain is much more satisfying. There's much more to it in A Bug's Life. So I would give the ending and the villain, I would give that to A Bug's Life. It does help that Antz does have Sylvester Stallone, which based on my username, you know he's my favorite actor, so that does help. It's also funny that Woody Allen and Stallone are in it because they were in the film Bananas back in 1971, where Stallone was pretty much a thug trying to intimidate Woody Allen. So I thought that was kind of funny to see them together again. Obviously, they didn't, because you do recording, you do it separately, so they didn't technically work together, but they're still in the same movie and technically same frame together. So I thought that was fun. A Bug's Life is definitely cuter. You know, the little girl Dot by Hayden, who starred in the video game Until Dawn, who was in Stream 4 and Stream 6. She was very cute. She did well. You know, the circus troupe, it was cool to have people like Dr. Smith from Lost in Space TV show as the praying mantis, or Bonnie Hunt, or Dennis Leary, you know, these actors. Cool to have them in there. You know, they were fine. I mean, can I sit there and tell you, 3 great moments with Bonnie Hunt or Balan Khan, who's the moth, and those scenes really made me laugh? Not really, but they were good to see them. I like them as actors. Do I think some of them got lost in the shuffle? Yeah. Was I that intrigued with them building the fake bird? No, not really. And again, the blame game where you lied to us. Well, you're the one who mistook us for what we're supposed to do. Well, we helped you out anyway. Well, we did this. You fucking lied to us. Well, you know, because they didn't have a conversation before and you're ticked out. It just, I don't know. It's a part of the story that you know what's going to happen. You just say it has to happen, but at the same time, was it interesting to watch? No, because you know where it's going, and you know it's going to be resolved, and you're waiting for people to get their head out of their fucking ass, and finally get to the third act where they finally do some business. So you're just waiting for that to happen, and it's like, this is where I would hit the fast forward button and get the fuck over here, and because, you know, it's like a means to an end, I get it, but do I find that stuff usually entertaining in movies? Not really. Because I've just seen it so many times of that trope that it does get old after a while. That's just me, though. So both I like. Both are good. Antz, I would rewatch more, though. Because I just find it shorter, faster paced. The humor is more satiric and quirky and fun to me. The acting, at least by Woody Allen, feels a bit more natural. You're using his own mannerisms, and more funny to me. But Bug's Life is fine as well. So that's the way I look at it. So with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.